Europe won its war on Russian gas, from 45% of its gas imports down to 12 in 3 years. But did that fix its dependency? Europe does not run on its own energy. It buys more than half of everything it burns from someone else. 57% of all the energy the European Union consumes is imported. That share has barely moved in 20 years, and it is concentrated in the fuels that matter most: 95% of its crude oil, 90% of its gas. Nobody is exposed equally. Malta imports 98% of its energy, Luxembourg 91%. At the other end, Estonia sits at 5%. That gap is not luck. Italy imports 3/4 because it runs on gas. France imports 40% because it runs on nuclear. In 2022, Europe paid 15 times the normal price for gas. Russia supplied 45% of it, and then it didn't. European gas hit roughly €320 a megawatt hour in August 2022. The pre-crisis norm was about 20. The bloc's fossil import bill went from €313 billion to 693 in 1 year. So Europe moved fast. Russia's share of its gas imports fell from 45% to 12%. Ukrainian transit stopped in January 2025. American LNG filled most of the hole, from 24% of Europe's LNG to 58%. One supplier out, another one in. Europe swapped one dependency for another. The machines replacing Russian gas run on metals it does not control either. 100% of the EU's heavy rare earths come from China, the metals inside wind turbines, electric cars, and batteries. 95% of its rare earth imports come from 3 countries: China, Malaysia, and Russia. Concentration is the risk, not distance. The European Central Bank found 80% of large European firms sit no more than 3 intermediaries from a Chinese rare earth producer. On paper, there's a fix: no more than 65% from any single country by 2030. Today, heavy rare earths sit at 100. One number finally went the other way. Europe still imports 57% of its energy, but its own power supply crossed a line. In 2025, wind and solar outgenerated fossil power in the EU for the first time, 30% against 29%. But renewables reached only 25.2% of final energy in 2024. The binding 2030 target is 42.5%. Cleaner power at home, the same exposure abroad. Europe still imports 57% of its energy. Only the supplier list changed. So how can Europe break the dependency? Build at home, spread the suppliers, or keep paying whoever holds the pipeline?